The Cats go back-to-back. The Twins are bad, but the Lynx are good. And today, we're going to learn about soccer. A lot to get to. Hot Mic starts right now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to this Hump Day edition of Hot Mic. It is the 18th day of June, 2025. Thanks for joining us however you are on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, also streaming on Inform.com and WDAY Plus. Sam Getzinger back in the big chair. You got me for 2 more days, today and tomorrow. And then on Friday, Dom is back. When we are live on location, this show will pack up and hit the road to Moorhead, to the Moorhead Country Club. We'll be live on Friday morning for the Red River Amateur Championship. We're getting ready. We're getting set up over at the golf course to broadcast that fantastic tournament throughout the weekend, and we'll touch on that a little bit more coming up. It's been a big week for Dom. Celebrated the Jackman's birthday the other day, also wedding anniversary on the same day, so he's taking some much-deserved time off, no doubt about that. Happy to be back here on this Wednesday morning. Happy to have you here with us as well. A lot to get to today. It's been a busy week, no doubt about that. We had a championship handed out in the NHL last night. We'll recap Game 6, and we'll also take a look back at the end of the season and what's going to happen potentially moving forward. A lot of questions up in the air now that the NHL season is over. So we'll take a look back at that and an exciting night last night, especially for Florida Panthers fans. Twins, they were at it in Cincinnati yesterday, and it just keeps on trending downwards for the Minnesota Twins, taking on the Reds last night. We'll look back at the first game of the series there. We're also going to turn our attention over to the WNBA as well. A couple of exciting things happened last night that we'll touch on involving the Minnesota Lynx, the WNBA Commissioner's Cup as well. So be sure to stick around for that in just a couple of minutes. We're also going to talk soccer today with our guy Drew Trafton, who's in, as he is each and every Wednesday morning. A lot of questions I have for Drew. I am so out of the world of soccer, and a lot of questions that Drew is going to answer for us today and get us up to date with what's going on in the Gold Cup. There's a Club Cup going on as well. What is that? World Cup's coming up eventually. A lot to talk about with Drew today. Also, in hour number 2, we're going to meet one of the newest Bison baseball additions out of the transfer portal. And we're also going to talk some golf, preview that Red River Am, and talk some Jamestown golf, the University of Jamestown golf, with Jared Lentz. He'll join us coming up later on this morning. A lot to talk about with him, so looking forward to that. Let's kick things off here on this Wednesday morning with the NHL. Of course, all eyes were fixated on Florida last night for the Stanley Cup Finals. The situation here, we'll set it up. Florida wins, they get the Stanley Cup. Edmonton wins, then we go to a Game 7 back in Edmonton, an opportunity for Canada to win a Stanley Cup championship for the first time in a long time. And that leads us to Game 6 last night. Here's how it went down in front of a rowdy crowd in Florida. Reminder for you, the Panthers, they're 0-2 in clinching scenarios at home this postseason, so it hasn't been good. But we picked things up in the first period. This was good. This was fantastic by Sam Reinhart, who's been on a mission all postseason. Scores a filthy goal over Stuart Skinner, who was starting in net for the Edmonton Oilers. That gave Florida an early 1-0 lead. Connor McDavid was trying to do everything he could. It just wasn't working. Sergei Bobrovsky with a good poke check And now Florida on the attack again in the final minute of the period. Matthew Tkachuk to make it a 2-0 game. Panthers sitting comfortably going into the second. McDavid on a 2-on-1 with Corey Perry. And unfortunately, Corey not able to get a clean shot on. Bobrovsky was moving pipe to pipe, and you see that frustration there. That was on the Oilers' faces all game long. Still 2-0 as we go to the 10-minute mark in the second. Bobrovsky, solid again. We talked about him yesterday. One of the greatest goaltenders in the world right now. Proved it again yesterday. Under 3 minutes left in the second. Carter Verhaeghe throws one towards the net. Skinner nonchalantly shrugs it away. Questionable goaltending here. And that gifts a goal for Alexander Barkov, who finds Reinhart in front of the net for the goal. So that would be his second of the game. 3-0 lead for the Panthers. Skinner gets the boot again. What is that, the second, third time this series? Nonetheless, 3-0 in the third. Reinhart fires on the open net, and that is a hat trick for the kid. A 4-0 lead for the Panthers. Reality has set in for Florida at this point, but Reinhart wasn't done. At the red line while falling down, flips it towards the open net. That's number 4 in the game for Sam Reinhart. An unbelievable series, unbelievable season, unbelievable postseason for him. Most goals in a Stanley Cup final game, last done by Maurice Richard back in 1957. And all that was left to do was to celebrate for the Florida Panthers. They go back-to-back. They drop the Oilers for the second season in a row. They're the 9th team in NHL history to go back-to-back. The first since the Tampa Bay Lightning did it. Hockey's pretty good in Florida, folks. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it at all. So congratulations to the Florida Panthers. They win their second consecutive Stanley Cup final. Stuart Skinner, tough day for him. Correction on my part. Did not get yanked. He was stayed in the whole game. Saved 20 shots on 23 attempts. Sergei Bobrovsky was fantastic. Did let up one goal late. Didn't matter. 5-1 final score. Reinhart, phenomenal. Just phenomenal. 4 goals in the game. Carter Verhaeghe, he had 3 assists in the game. Alexander Barkov had 2 as well. The only goal in the game for Edmonton came in the third period. At that point, it was, a day late and $1 short. Also, a big congratulations needs to be given out to Nate Schmidt as well. He's a St. Cloud Cathedral grad. Cathedral's fantastic in the Minnesota high school hockey scene. He came up to play for the Fargo Force back in the day, in the early goings of the Force's tenure here in Fargo, and went on to play for the Gophers and now in the NHL, and he picks up a Stanley Cup here with the Florida Panthers. So congratulations to him. I wanted to touch on this because we talked about it yesterday with Rachel Herzog, who was on the show, and what this potentially could mean for Connor McDavid. I'm sitting here, if I were an Oilers fan, I say that, and I didn't hope they were going to win last night because I would have loved to see a Game 7. But it was pretty cool that the Florida Panthers won the series on home ice. But if I'm sitting here as an Oilers fan, this is what I'm thinking. That was our best shot with him. That's my opinion. His contract is coming up at the end of next season. It has been rumored around that if they didn't get it done this year, which they didn't, there is a possibility that he may be looking elsewhere. Because really, when you boil things down, we've said it over and over the last couple of weeks for sure, Connor McDavid is the greatest player in the world. I think that's a hands down, obviously. But he's not the greatest player of all time. And I would probably guarantee you that he would like to be up in that mix, but he can't win the big one. I think that's become evident. That's 2 years in a row now, dropping to Florida. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he looked elsewhere. And really, Edmonton, they've had good years, but you think about it, Leon Draisaitl, his contract's up after next season. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is 32. He's kind of on the bookend of his career. Goaltending with Stuart Skinner hasn't been great. You saw it there in Game 6. Wasn't fantastic. So it's been spotty. I don't know. I think we could see the end, the last little bit here of Connor McDavid in an Edmonton Oilers uniform. Now, again, as I mentioned, his contract is good through next season, so it's not like the Oilers haven't made it a deep run in the playoffs. Obviously, they've been to the finals twice, so there is some reason to stay, but they haven't gotten over the hump. And Connor McDavid was very, very upset after the game yesterday. Saw plenty of clips on social media of him in the locker room during the game, not happy with what was going on after the game, continually, you can almost say, taking jabs at their coaching staff by just doing the same thing over and over again, and Florida was ready for it. Wouldn't be surprised. So just keep that on your radar, something to look at in the NHL season, as the NHL is now done. It's over. No more games to be played this year, so we'll wait for next year. Now, on the flip side of that conversation with Florida, I really don't see that train slowing down one bit. The entire roster is pretty much in their late 20s. They have now plenty of championship experience. The standard is to win championships, not just to hang around for a deep run. It's now to win the entire thing, and they've done it 2 times in a row now. The only real question I have about Florida is what's going to happen with Brad Marchand. He's 37, but even at that age, at the very end of his career, he still looks fantastic. We've been showing you highlights the last couple of weeks of this Stanley Cup final, and Marchand was phenomenal against the Edmonton Oilers. I'll be very curious what he's going to decide moving forward, but I don't think Florida's going to slow down at any point. Verhaeghe, Tkachuk, Reinhart, Bennett, list goes on. I could sit here and list off the entire roster. I won't do that. They're young. They're a good team. I don't see them going around anytime soon. Now, with that being said, we have one champion crowned. Congratulations to Florida for doing it again. We have another championship, couple, actually, when you think about it, but another major championship up in the looms here. This is over on the NBA side. Game 5 was a couple of days ago. They're getting some rest period here before they get ready for potentially deciding Game 6. Oklahoma City is leading the series against Indiana now 3-2 after their win in Game 6. Game 5. Let's go back here. Game 6 coming up is on Thursday at 7:30. Tip-off on ABC. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. I'll be shocked if this series does not go to 7. Now, I say that, and I should hold my breath for a second here, because we do have an injury update to pass along with the Indiana Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton, who went down in Game 5, had a very bad game, just 4 points, all 4 points coming from the free throw line. Shams tweeted out yesterday the injury update. It appears that Halliburton suffered a strained right calf and will undergo an MRI to determine the severity of the strain. That's not good news. You don't want to hear that if you're a Pacers fan. No doubt about that. There's the tweet there from Shams. He said after the game, if I can walk, I'm going to try to play. So he must not be able to walk, because he's questionable for Game 6 coming up tomorrow. We'll keep our eyes on that and see what's going to happen. Again, Thunder leading the series 3-2. Game 7 coming up on Sunday. Okay, before we go to break here in this first segment of the show, want to talk about some other Minnesota sports here. Want to go to the Twins while we have a couple of moments. Twins back in action last night, taking on the Cincinnati Reds. It's the first time these two teams played against each other all season. So they go into the Great American Ballpark, losers of their last 4. They're only a game above 500, and this is how it shook out. Byron Buxton in the top of the 3rd inning. I was wondering if he was even going to play after his left elbow contusion. Looks like he's good to go. Hits a bomb off of Andrew Abbott, who's been phenomenal this year. But in the bottom of the 4th, Cincinnati would respond. Will Benson with a double to left center. Ellie De La Cruz and Tyler Stephenson come in to score. It's a 2-1 lead for the Cincinnati Reds. Now again, in the bottom of the fourth here, runners on second and third. Jake Fraley single to right off of David Festa, who started the game. 4-1 lead for the Cincinnati Reds. We go to the top of the sixth, and this one was interesting. 4-2 for Cincinnati. Harrison Bader to right field. It hits off of the head of Jake Fraley and leaves the ballpark. That's a 3-run shot for Harrison Bader, and the Twins out of nowhere take a 5-4 lead. Abbott couldn't believe it. He gets yanked from the game shortly after. And then we go to the bottom of the sixth. The Reds fighting for some more runs again. They would double to the right center gap off of Brock Stewart. Matt Wallner couldn't make the catch. It's 6-5 at that point. And eventually Cincinnati would hold on for the wins. Twins had an opportunity to tie or potentially take the lead in the top of the ninth. They had runners on first and second, but just couldn't get it done. Strikeout to end the game. So the Twins have now lost 5 games in a row. They are 36-36 on the season, 16-24 in road games. You see the numbers there from David Festa, 3 2/3, 4 strikeouts. Harrison Bader, the homer. Byron Buxton with his 12th. Andrew Abbott, 5 2/3, gave up 8 hits. Did give up a couple runs, but only one of them was earned, and he had 5 strikeouts as well. So the road for the Twins just continues to struggle in the month of June. We're going to set up Game 2 coming up later on the show, but I want to get to this as well. Turning our attention now over to the hardwood here with the Minnesota Lynx and the WNBA. And for those that do not know, the Commissioner's Cup tournament has been in full swing right now. And it's just like the NBA in-season tournament that was implemented a couple of years ago. The games are all meshed into the regular season, and then the winners decide, the math on all that. They decide on the results determine who's going to move to the finals. Lynx were obviously doing pretty good throughout the season so far. They've been on fire, to say the least. They had a game yesterday against the Las Vegas Aces, and if they won, they would advance to the Commissioner's Cup final. Let's show you what happened in Minnesota last night against Las Vegas. The Minnesota Lynx, they won the Commissioner's Cup last year, taking on the Aces without Asia Wilson. Go to the third quarter. Scary moment here. Lynx down 7. Nafisa Collier gets the entry feed. She's fouled, and then she would leave the game holding her lower back. She would not sub herself back in, so interesting news there. Mid-third quarter, Courtney Williams decided to take things out with Collier out of the game. She was fantastic, helping the Lynx go on a great run in the second half. 2-point game here. Williams gets the lay-in to go, Elena Smith gets the lay-in to go, 56-52 at that point. In the fourth quarter, 3-ball. Williams drains it for the open triple, and the Lynx are up by 9. There was a point when Minnesota was trailing by quite a bit in this one, but once we got down the stretch here, they really, really turned it on. That's Natisha Heidemann coming away with it and going for an easy bank off the glass. And another open 3. Minnesota would go on for the win. Final score in the game, 76-62, and the Lynx advance to the Commissioner's Cup. Williams, 20 points in the game. Natisha Heidemann had 12. Diamond Miller had 12 as well. So congratulations to the Lynx. They're now 11-1, folks. They're not on your radar. Get them on your radar. They're 6-0 at home this season. Cool stuff. They'll face, this is interesting, they'll face Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever for the Commissioner's Cup Championship. Again, the Lynx are going to try to go back-to-back. It'd be the first time in the WNBA team's gone back-to-back in the Commissioner's Cup. Now, the Fever made some headlines last night. I got more notifications about their game than I did the Stanley Cup Finals while I was sitting at home last night. The Fever were taking on the Connecticut Sun. They would go on to win 88-71, but there was an interesting moment in the game. Caitlin Clark, and we'll show you the clip here. Caitlin Clark, in a very heated game all throughout, was trying to back down, got clipped in the face, and then eventually got pushed to the floor, stirred up some tensions here. You'll see it here. Gets clipped in the nose, gives a shove, and then gets hammered down to the floor. And, oh, man, my notifications were going crazy. We've been talking about fighting in the game of hockey, but what about fighting in the game of the WNBA? This wasn't really much of a fight, though. Tensions were going out. Flagrant fouls were given out as well. Nonetheless, the Fever would go on to win 88-71. So, if Nafisa Collier is healthy, it'll be one of the best players in the WNBA who's making a run for a league MVP against another one of the best players in the WNBA, in Caitlin Clark, who's been on an absolute tear as of late, by the way. And if Nafisa is healthy, that is must-see TV, in my opinion. I think we're going to get some pretty good basketball when that game comes around. There is no official injury update as of yet on Collier. Her teammate said in the post-game press conference that she's a fighter. She'll be all right. So good sign there. We'll keep our eyes out for an official word on Collier. That game's going to be on July 1st. Eric, you're telling me that's at home, 7 o'clock against the Indiana Fever. They have a couple of games before then, but Commissioner's Cup trophy is on the line. There's a pool of money on the line as well. So we're keeping our eye on that. All right, let's take our first break here. Before we do so, want to set up the show. As I mentioned earlier, Drew Trafton will join us at 9:30. We're chatting soccer because I have no clue what's going on in the Gold Cup. He'll give us some answers there. Cal Jones joins us to start hour number 2. Talk about his decision to commit to North Dakota State baseball from transferring in from Henderson State. He's busy in the Northwoods League right now as well. Looking forward to that conversation. And we'll preview the Red River Amateur Championship and also talk a little UJ golf with their head coach, Jared Lentz, joining us at 10:35. Our guest today brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Happy to have them on. Let's take a break. When we come back, we have some more Sac State football news to pass along and what is turning out to be kind of a reality show here in FCS football. We'll get to that on the other side here on Hot Mic. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us on Hot Mic here on WDAY Extra, also streaming on Inform.com. Again, Drew Trafton joining us in just a couple of minutes, talk about what's going on in the Gold Cup, answer all my questions about the game of soccer. Before we get to him in just a little bit, while the time we have here, do want to mention the news around Sac State here. We touched on it yesterday with Mike McFeely and the saga moving forward on their journey to go to the FBS level. To recap quickly, the FBS Oversight Committee decided to pass along a recommendation to the D1 Council not to approve their waiver of Sac State trying to join FBS as an independent. Okay, so that happened the other day. Now, Sac State, they've been fighting to go FBS for a while now. The council meets in June to make that final decision. Our guy Sam Herder tweeted yesterday the reasoning from the Oversight Committee. It's a long explanation on why they passed along their recommendation to not allow Sac State into the FBS. I'll narrow it down here for you. It essentially said that they don't think that Sac State should join the big level because they didn't get a conference invite. That's how I took it. No conference invite means FBS schools don't think your institution is ready to move up to the next level. They go on to say that even though in 2017 you could go through this waiver process to join the FBS, that decision was made in a much different era of college football, so we don't support it now. Okay, I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. To me, it feels a little rushed on Sac State's end to join the big leagues here, as they will call it. We'll get into that in just a little bit. But also yesterday, Matt Brown reporting some potential realignment news here that Sac State is expected to announce at some point today that they will be leaving the Big Sky Conference and joining the Big West Conference and everything except football. That would be effective July 1st, 2026. And he also said that their short-term plan would be to become an FCS independent. Now, to me, not very many FCS independents out there. What do we got? Merrimack? Is Chicago State independent? New Haven? A couple of new schools in the mix? I don't know. I'm curious on how scheduling would go at the FCS level for an independent team, especially one that wants to make it up into the big levels. I don't know. I'd be curious about that. Also, another thing from last night, and this is where it kind of, this is like, to me, it reminded me of a reality TV show. Saw this on Sam Herder's account as well. The athletic director from South Dakota, we'll pull it up here, John Schemmel, tweeted this out yesterday. All of us JV programs are excited to compete against a varsity program. Ha! I saw that and laughed. I'm sure it was all in good fun, a good poke, but that was pretty funny. That goes back, of course, to the comments that were made in April by Sac State's president, Luke Wood, calling FCS essentially JV and all the other sports are varsity, and our goal is to get up to that varsity level all across the board. Obviously, that didn't sit well with a lot of people in FCS football. Everybody kind of understood where he was coming from. It was just poorly worded. So John Schemmel didn't forget about it. No doubt about that. And Dr. Luke Wood, the president of Sac State, eventually tweeted this out in response. We put up 50 points on you all this year. Best of luck with your conference. Yeah, I imagine this is all in good fun, but they're going back and forth here in the social media world. Interesting stuff. So Sac State hits a roadblock here, and it looks like we are getting a little bit more breaking news here. Dom just texting me. I'll wait for this to pop up, and if we don't get to it here in the next couple of minutes, I'll pass it along here before Drew comes on the show. The vibe is that Sac State still wants to push forward, still wants to get to that level. It just may take longer than they expected. I'll be curious to see where they go from here. The news from Ross Dellinger, breaking news here that Sacramento State has formally withdrawn from the Big Sky Conference. And, of course, as we mentioned, as Matt Brown reported yesterday, they will join the Big West in everything except football. And if they're denied the waiver to move to FBS, they are going to go independent. So that is the news here on this Sac State saga moving forward. Eric, do you got anything you want to add on this real quick before Drew gets in here?
Yeah, going off the tweet of Dr. Luke Wood saying we put up 50, I can't wait to see Sacramento State take on South Dakota State in August this year. And I can't wait to see South Dakota State probably bury them.
I totally agree. I think all eyes are going to be on Sacramento State all throughout the season. The way they're hyping themselves up, you got to imagine they think they're going to go undefeated this year. They might. I don't know. But a game against South Dakota State, that's put up or shut up time right there. We'll be curious to see how that goes. All right, that's the latest on that. A lot to talk about with Sam Herder, Mike McFeely, Jeff Kolpak next week. There's no doubt about that. Let's take a break. When we come back, Drew Trafton will join us on the show. We're learning about soccer today, folks. I'm excited for this one. Hot Mike returns after this.
The biggest Seahawks, Sounders, and Mariners fan in the FM area. It's time for Views with Drew.
All right, lots to talk about with our guy, Drew Trafton, joining us in studio on this Wednesday morning. How you doing, man? Long time no see.
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to get used to this early morning schedule with Dom on vacation.
You've been doing well.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
the first
that.
few days this week. You've just been nailing it.
I've been battling the snooze alarm. I will say that all week, but we've been here. It's been fun.
You sports guys usually have like a very late night, like it's like the opposite schedule of what you need for this show.
Yeah. No, it's been fun though. Again, Dom will be back in on Friday. I mentioned it a lot, and I was texting with you yesterday. I want to talk about soccer here in a little bit. You're our resident Big Sky expert. What do you make of this Sac State stuff going on?
You know what? I am so looking forward to their first game of the year against South Dakota State. No pressure on Dan Jackson as the head coach of the Jacks with his first game, but he might have to lay the hammer for the whole FCS. I love this.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we have a foil kind of in the FCS this year, and I think as a Big Sky fan, it'll be kind of fun to have also a foil in the conference where it's like, you know, you can point to somebody and not as a villain, you know, you understand that they've got big, you know, FBS aspirations, but you know, the way I look at it as a Montana fan, I guess, is like, you know, Montana had a chance to go to the FBS in 2008, to the WAC, which became the Mountain West, and they said no, you know, because at the time, Montana State wasn't going to move with them, and so the Board of Higher Education there said no. It's, you know, they've always been a package deal, right? If Montana or Montana State ever move, both schools have to be on board with it. Both have to be in a position to go up. They've always been a package deal, and so in that instance, Montana wanted to go. Montana State didn't. They didn't go, and so for a school like, you know, Sacramento State, which from a clout standpoint, and I think NDSU fans can certainly commiserate with this, you know, they've never had any, you know, in football. Like they've got a great TV market, which seems to be, you know, obviously what dictates who goes where in college football. And not that that's not a bad metric or measuring stick, but it's like from a clout standpoint, you know, they have no business being in the FBS, you know, whatsoever.
Exactly.
And so it's going to be fun. It's just like, it's great to be like, you know, oh, okay, you're too, what, you know, you're like, you're too good for us now. Like, you're too, you know,
exactly.
It has that feel about it.
Yes.
Even though maybe it shouldn't, but it does, you know, have that air of like, you know, oh, you're too, you know, you're too good for us now.
Right.
Huh? Oh, look at Mr. Big Shot walking around. And so it'll be really fun, I think, this season, especially if they are good. Like if they could back up their talk, like if they could back that up and you know, be a semifinalist, be in the championship game, like great. You know, that's fantastic, and that's an element that the FCS like desperately needs in some regards.
Right.
You know, because as good as NDSU has been and as dynastic as they have been, they're almost so good that they're not a villain. You know, it's just like they're the standard bearer, and they're the team that you have to try to live up to, or that mark that you have to try to hit. There's so much respect there because they've done it the right way, and they've done it a respectable way, and they've produced all of this talent, and they've had all these coaches go on. You know, it's like, so it's like you almost, when you lose to NDSU, like there's no shame to it, or there's no, like, you know, there's no sting to it, because it's like, well, you're supposed to lose to NDSU.
Not a lot of teams are coming into that game expecting to blow the doors off of them.
Exactly. And if you win, like, you know, it's fantastic. Like, you know, you've like accomplished something.
Right.
But it's not like this villainous, like dark thing. And like if you have that, even if it's just for a year. You know, like the way they've gone
People
about
are talking about it now.
Yeah, you know, like how Dr. Wood has created this, like, you know, like
unintentionally, I feel like too,
or like this good-natured beef. Like it's still like it's a storyline, and it's something that's fun, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, like if this is the way Sac State goes out, and it looks like it is, you know, with FCS football and with, or you know, at least for the time being, or in the Big Sky, which it looks like it is, like awesome. Let's do this. Let's have some fun. Let's have a good season. And they've got a good roster, you know, and a lot of transfer talent. And we've seen that blow up. Like Big Sky schools have done that in spades, you know, to varying degrees of success. It certainly isn't a recipe for winning a championship. It's certainly not a recipe for sustained success. But, you know, it'd be cool. It'd be cool if they made a deep run. I'd like it.
You're right. That's why some people like the WWE, the villain storylines, the villain or the heel and the baby face or whatever. And Sac State's kind of taken over that heel look here. By the way, Luke Wood, the president, deleted that tweet saying they would put up 50 points against them.
Yeah, maybe he looked at
maybe he thought
studied up a little bit on
otherwise
USD.
of that. Okay, we'll hold our tongue here.
Yeah.
The Grizz got Sac State October 24th on ESPN2 in Sacramento. What do you think of that? I'm going to tune into that game.
So I usually, when I'm looking at the Grizz schedule, they usually lay an egg in a road game in a different time zone. So it's like either if they're playing Arizona, or Northern Arizona, at the Sky Dome. I usually look at that and go, that one's a little iffy. If they have a game against like UC Davis or Cal Poly or Sac State on the road, I'm usually like, that might be the game. That's the one I circled as like a potential game that the Grizz could lose.
Okay.
And so that I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizz went in and won. I think the Grizz could be good this year.
Right.
But even if they go like 11-1, that might be the game, because they've got a heavy home slate this year. This Grizz schedule is super soft. So, and who knows what Montana State's going to be this year. I think they've got a lot of change to navigate. And so I could see, and the Grizz will be trying to rebound that loss from last year's Brawl of the Wild. I could see the Grizz winning that game against Montana State as of right now. And so I think that could be the game. But it's on national TV.
Well,
and
right.
Sac State's going to be up for that game. And it's going to be, I think.
It is definitely put up or shut up moving forward for Sac State. Because how do you argue we want to go FBS if we're not above 500, whatever, if we're not making a run in the postseason?
Yeah.
I don't know how you argue.
Yeah. Now, I mean, if the Grizz are good, and that could be a really fun game because Bobby Houck likes to chat when he can back it up, and only when he can back it up.
Right.
But if he could back it up, going into that game and be like, guys, like these guys don't think that they belong in this conference because they think they're so much better than us. There could be some good chat. Like we're talking about tweets like between Dr. Wood and I can see Bobby Houck laying some more, huh? I can see some talk, in the media, like talking through the media intermediaries. I think that could be fun. I mean, it could be a fun game, like with a lot built up to it, and with a national TV audience, I could see both programs trying to, build some intrigue with that game.
I love that. Do you got a couple of more minutes? So you can stick around for a little bit? All right, let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to chat soccer with our guy, Drew Trafton here, but I love what's going on with this Sac State story. We'll keep tabs on that.
As the world turns, right?
Yeah, as the world turns. We'll keep tabs on that. All right, let's take a break. Soccer chat coming up here next on Hot Mic. Couple more minutes left here with our guy Drew Trafton on this Wednesday morning. Appreciate him for sticking around for the long haul here today. I have a list in front of me here. I want to get to you. I've been neglecting this topic all week, and I feel bad about it. And I wanted to get you in to talk about this. And of course, I'm talking about soccer.
I hope I don't embarrass myself here.
That's okay. I will. No. So don't feel bad. I know you and Dom were talking about it last week.
Yeah,
the Gold
a little
Cup.
bit. Yep.
I'm gonna strip it down to the bare basics. Okay. What is the Gold Cup?
Yeah, so that's a good question. This is like the 18th time it's been held. It's a tournament that's for our region of the world, so countries in our region of the world, and we're in CONCACAF, which is an acronym for like. I wrote it down because it's so hard to remember what it's called.
I don't even know what that is either.
It's a confederation, but it's called the.
I'm glad you came prepared, though. By the way, at least you came
Did
with
I write
some notes.
It down? Oh yeah, it's the Confederation of North Central America and Caribbean Association Football.
Okay, good enough.
And so CONCACAF, and so this is our regional tournament, and you just play to a championship basically.
Okay.
And it doesn't have anything to do with World Cup qualifying or anything like that. But it's just the championship. And you bring in, sometimes you'll have guest nations. So this year, for instance, Saudi Arabia was invited to participate because they're hosting the 2034 World Cup, I think. And so oftentimes when a nation like that will be hosting and they don't have necessarily a super strong foothold in their own region of the world, because they play in like the Confederation of Asian Nations or something like that, or the Central Asian Federation or something, they might get a team in the World Cup or two teams in the World Cup. And so they'll play and they'll guest play in other tournaments just to kind of build clout and relationships with those countries.
That makes sense.
And so, then you build like commercial relationships and things like that. So when you're looking for advertising dollars,
a lot
that
of relationships here. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
You can kind of build that ground.
Interesting. I had never heard of the Gold Cup until last week when Eric brought it up to me in passing. I didn't see any advertising that this was going on.
It's usually super anticlimactic because it's like Mexico's won 9 times, the U.S. has won 7 times, and Canada's won once.
Okay.
So it's like it's the same. 9 times out of 10, what you're getting in the Gold Cup final is Mexico, U.S.
Right.
And like they're playing each other.
Okay.
Which is kind of how it probably should go. So like there's a very clear divide in CONCACAF in terms of FIFA rankings. So FIFA is like the worldwide body of football, where like the U.S. and Mexico are usually like right next to each other, and their rankings are pretty close, and they're usually like top 16, 17 in the world. That's where we are right now. We're like top 16, or we're 16, they're 17.
What are we so far down for?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, so like the World Cup finals, which is what we would call like the World Cup tournament, is the top 32 teams in the world.
Okay.
Usually.
Okay.
And it takes like it's a long process to get there. It's multi-years where you get to that finals tournament, where you're placed in 8 groups of 4 teams, and then the top 2 teams from each group move on. This year, or this next year, it's the first time it's being expanded to 48 teams. But if you look at it like, I mean, we always talk about how garbage we are, worldwide. I mean, you have to look at, this is the sport that everybody plays.
Well, right.
So
it's
like,
got the most activity in it across the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so,
I get that.
And you look at like other sports like, hockey or something like that. It's like Sweden is really good, or like, it's like, it's just, you have those nations that are like randomly really good at these sports because that's all they play, or they play it all the time.
Right.
And they're, so they're up there. And the U.S. has historically, like, we've gotten to a semifinal of a World Cup. So it's not like we're, awful. And those are played once every 4 years. So it's not like you're playing
and we got one,
single
we
year.
got one next year.
Next year, and it's here. It's
here
in the United States.
That's a huge deal, right?
Huge deal.
Huge deal. Okay.
Yeah. And so like you'll see a lot of these stadiums that are hosting these games for the World Cup next year are pouring in like massive stadium improvements, like hundreds of millions of dollars in stadium improvements just to host the World Cup.
Okay.
Because it's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Because of who you're bringing in. It's like, it's the profitable version of hosting the Olympics.
Right.
Where it's like,
that makes sense.
It actually does pay off to make these improvements and to do these things. But like FIFA games, all sanctioned FIFA games for tournaments have to be played on natural grass.
Okay.
And so a lot of these stadiums that are hosting these games have, like artificial surfaces. They're going to have to meet these requirements.
Interesting. Okay. And to go back on your point, being a guy who doesn't watch, my soccer knowledge ends at Summit League College soccer on the girls' side. That's where it starts and that's where it ends. I think from a casual fan like this, obviously want to get into USA athletics when the country's name is tied to it.
Yeah.
But we're so used to seeing we're in the top 1 or 2 in every other sport except this.
Even women's soccer. We're like we are the juggernaut of that side of the world. But we got a later start, obviously. People, like we don't value it the way that other countries value it. Our best athletes probably are not playing soccer. Maybe 1 or 2 of the guys who are like on that squad are like internationally renowned athletes. More so now though. We have more European talent. And playing in the major European leagues, which are the best leagues in the world than we've ever had before.
That's good for development, obviously.
Totally, yeah. But that also brings up the argument of like it's not the best for team cohesion, right? Okay. So it's like you might, like for this tournament, for instance, the Gold Cup, 2 of our best players aren't playing in this tournament.
Okay, I was going to ask you, are the top dogs in this or not?
Yeah, I mean I would say no. I would say like a handful of our best guys
are they
playing.
In that Commissioner's Cup thing?
They're playing in like the FIFA Club World Cup.
Okay, that's not Commissioner's Cup is WNBA. Club World Cup. Sorry,
or they're looking at this time as like this is kind of their off season in some respects.
Okay,
and so they're looking to they're like Christian Pulisic, one of our better players, is like he's played in like 160 matches in the last like 2 years, and so he's like, I need just to like relax,
Makes sense.
And he was going to play in a couple friendlies, but not the Gold Cup. And then the U.S. manager was like, no, if you're gonna come, we want you to play in the Gold Cup.
Okay.
Like I want you on the roster.
Okay.
And so there's, it's like, the team building part of it, right? It's tough.
Obviously.
And, you're talking about with these U.S. athletes, like if they're coming into play in the United States, that's a 6-7 hour time change for them that they have to adjust to in a matter of days. We build up, the big thing with the NFL going over there and playing. It's like that would be their life, and then you're in camp with these guys for a little bit who you're not playing with all the time anymore. So there's that to it as well.
Quickly, before we go to break here, we've won a game in this Gold Cup already against Trinidad and Tobago, 5-0 on Saturday. Like, that's a given, right?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Where are we at? We got a game. We got Saudi Arabia tomorrow.
And we should blow the brakes off of them. They're like 58th in FIFA World Rankings.
Okay.
They're not very good.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the expectation here is you destroy all the teams you're playing in group. So that's your group play, which is Trinidad and Tobago, like you mentioned, Saudi Arabia, and then Haiti. And then, I mean, we really want to see us,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, our quarterfinal game isn't going to be the one played in Minneapolis.
Oh.
So the U.S. isn't going to be in Minneapolis for the quarterfinals. But anything less than a final appearance is a major disappointment for the United States in the Gold Cup.
Okay.
And then, really, I think given Mexico's okay right now, but they're beatable, and so it's like you want to win. It's like winning the Gold Cup is the standard. So that's what the U.S. should be looking to do, especially heading into a situation where you're a host nation for the World Cup, so you don't have to qualify.
Right.
So this is your warm up.
Okay.
This is where you want to start seeing things come together. Not necessarily the final product. It's not going to be these guys on the field, but you want to start to see a coaching philosophy develop. You want to start to see good results.
Okay.
5-0 over Trinidad and Tobago. That's what you're looking for.
Right.
Against
That's
Trinidad
what you
and
wanted
Tobago.
to have.
You want to put goals in the net. You don't want to concede anything. You want really fluid play. You want your subs getting on, all of that, to play in some decent minutes. That we're going to see some development, but we want good results and just some players who might not be getting many minutes in the World Cup getting some time.
Okay.
See what they have.
Okay.
Who do we have? What do we have to offer? It'll be good.
All right.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for answering my questions here. I know I'm going to have plenty more. I'll have to.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep tabs on this.
And this runs through July. So the tournament.
I was going to say, this is a long thing.
So it ends July 6th. So we're looking for, and unfortunately with FIFA rankings, it's not going to improve our stature probably all that much.
Okay.
Because, I mean, best case scenario, you're playing a team below you in the rankings.
Right.
Everybody's below us already.
Right.
So you're basically in a situation where you have to win to hold.
Okay.
So, we'll probably still end up in 16th-ish, 15th maybe move up a couple spots.
All right. I'll keep tabs on that. We'll see where that goes. Again, they play Saudi Arabia tomorrow. Drew, I appreciate your time. Thanks for going the distance here this
thanks
morning.
for having me for 2 segments.
Absolutely. Awesome. Good stuff to chat about today. A lot going on. Let's step aside. Big thank you to Drew for joining us here today. When we come back, we're going to meet one of the newest Bison baseball transfer additions. Cal Jones joins us to start hour number 2. Hot Mic rolls on after this.
This is Hot Mic.
Hot Mic.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Back for hour number 2 on this Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us, however you are. WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, also streaming on Inform.com and WDAY+. Been chatting about this over the last couple of days, the news that's been going on with Bison baseball. Of course, a fantastic season that resulted in a run to the regional round of the NCAA tournament. Picked up a win in the regional round as well, which was very cool to see. And then something that you're going to see moving forward. Transfer portal comes and hits and takes some key pieces away from the Bison. But as we've mentioned over the last couple of days, they've added some talent out of the transfer portal. One of them being a shortstop that's going to be added to the roster here in Cal Jones, transferring into NDSU from Henderson State. He joins us this morning. Told me he's making his TV debut today. So happy to have you on, Cal. How you doing, man? Thanks for coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You committed. You decided you were going to transfer to NDSU a couple of days ago. Describe what the last couple of days have been. Is it good to have this whirlwind and a landing spot locked down now?
Oh, yeah. It's a breath of fresh air, to be honest. It was like when I hit the portal, it was like hectic. And, I just trying to find a place to go. And then I got a great opportunity from NDSU. Couldn't turn it down. It was a great spot, great schedule. I'm just here to get better. And then once I committed, everything went away. Felt great.
Describe that process. When did NDSU come into the picture after you entered into the transfer portal?
I think about probably 2 to 3 days. NDSU was on me from the jump, and they've been good to me ever since. So I kept them on the radar the whole time. They were up there. They were like top 3 picks for sure the whole time. And then it's just everything sounded great, and I would love to be a Bison, you know.
Have you had the opportunity to come up here at all?
No, sir, I have not. I have not yet.
Okay, so that leads me into my next question. What did you know prior about NDSU, about NDSU baseball, and about North Dakota as a whole? What did you know about the state?
Just know it was cold. That's all I've heard about North Dakota. We had a trainer from up here. She was like from South Dakota or something. She always said it was freezing up there, and that's all I got. But also I heard about the football team. Football team's usually very good.
Yep.
And that's really about all.
What? So you mentioned the schedule was good, the coaching staff was good to you. What did you like about NDSU baseball that made you decide, like, hey, this is the place to be?
Oh, it's just the opportunity. You get to go play against these other big teams, you know, and then like it's just it's the highest competitive you can get, and like that's what I want to do. I want to compete at the highest level against the best teams, you know.
What's going to be the preparation process to get ready for the winter?
We'll get back from Rockford, go down to Texas, and then it's time to get in the weight room and start grinding again and training every day.
Okay.
And then it's time to get up here to North Dakota.
You got a big coat all ready to go and everything?
No, sir, I have not. Not yet. Not yet.
We'll have to get you set up with that. I want to ask you about this, and I'm sure a lot of people had never heard about Henderson State before. I come up from the Division II world, so I've heard of Henderson State. Describe your decision to go there, and what was it like playing there for the time that you were at Henderson State?
I'm from Texas, and coming out of high school, I didn't have a bunch of offers. And Henderson State, like I said, I'm a very a loyal type of person. Henderson State was wanting me out of high school the whole time. They did everything right, and then it's only an hour down the road away from home. So I was like, yeah, that's a great spot. And the last 2 years have been amazing. They built me into the player I am now, and everything I could ask for, to be honest. And that was always my goal, is to go D1. So like going into that, like I put my foot down and was like, all right, these 2 years are gonna be a grind. Let's get as best I can get, and let's see where it takes me after that. And then it came up, and then my decision was just me made to get in a portal, and NDSU gave me the great opportunity to go D1.
Henderson State's a really good baseball program. Describe the level of competition that you were seeing, because Division II, it's not a walk in the park. Really, no level of college baseball is a walk in the park. Describe the competition that you were seeing.
I mean, the GAC had great competition. I'm seeing pitchers from the GAC in the Northwoods League right now competing against all these big D1 guys, and they're doing just as good as the other guys, So I believe the competition's right there similar, especially when you get into regionals and all that stuff. Like it gets legit, and it's great. I love that competition. It was very fun to be a part of.
So you've mentioned it. You're from Texas, Texarkana, if I'm not mistaken. People who watch the show know I'm horrible at geography. That's right next to Arkansas too, isn't it? Right?
Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma.
Okay. The baseball over there is pretty good too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yes sir. It's Texas. You got to go 6 rounds to make it to state. So when she gets you in playoffs, there's a whole second half of season and stuff. So we play baseball all the time down there, and that's what we love to do. Has baseball been your number one sport, or was this something that popped up and you had an opportunity to play college ball and you took it? Well, here's a background story for me. My dad's always been a coach, so he's coached me in every sport. So I played basketball, baseball, and football. Okay. So when I was in high school, I just loved the sport, whichever sport was around at that time, and I loved them all. I really did love them all. Awesome. Well, it's working out for you, man. There's no doubt about that. For those, we showed a couple of clips of you just a moment ago. For those that haven't seen you play, describe your game. What kind of player is North Dakota State getting here? You're getting a guy that's going to bring it 100% every day. I'm going to leave it all on the field every time, and I'm going to be scrappy. I'm going to get after you, and I'm just going to take it all to him every time. That's awesome. That's good to hear. I want to touch on this. You mentioned it. You're playing in the Northwoods League right now with the Rockford Rivets. The Northwoods League is a very interesting league. I told you off air I worked in that league for a couple of years. Describe how your guys' season is going and your initial experience in the Northwoods League. What are you taking away here? This is my first year playing in the Northwoods League, and I just want to thank Brewster for the opportunity of doing that. My coach, Coach Brewster, it's been great. The Northwoods League is amazing, to be honest. Tough schedule, you get to play every day, but I mean, that's living life, and I love playing baseball every day. So I don't complain about it at all, and the league's great. The league is really great, and it's been awesome.
There's a couple of Northwoods Leagues teams in North Dakota. A lot of people may not know about it, but it's essentially a college collegiate summer league that mimics a minor league schedule, if you will. So you're playing day after day. You were just telling me you got done with a couple of games this week already. What's the life like for you in the Northwoods? How much are you guys traveling, and how much are you guys preparing and playing games?
Oh, it's every day. It's an everyday process. You wake up, you get your breakfast in, and then it's time to go. It's time to go train early work, and then go play a game every day, or get on the bus at 9 a.m. to go travel somewhere.
Rockford, you got to move around quite a bit, don't you? There's not a lot of teams too close to you.
Oh, no. Yeah, we got to go like Wisconsin or Michigan every time we travel.
How's your season going down there in the Northwoods?
It's going pretty good. I'm playing second right now a little bit, and then we're either tied or actually first right now in our division over here.
Okay, there you go. And you're not staying the entire summer, right?
No, sir. Probably just the first half.
Okay, sounds good. The decision to go to Rockford, how does that work? Explain that to someone who doesn't know. Do they find you, or do you find them?
I think it can be a mix. If like you're a pitcher and like we need pitchers, say like I can reach out to a guy that I know, like, hey, he's legit. We need him. We can get him up here, and I can text him, and coach will be like, yeah, bring him up here. Or they like Brewster reached out to me and said, hey, we need you to come up here and play, and I was like, oh, I'm on board for that. So I think it's both ways.
Okay. Have you run into any NDSU teammates at all throughout the start of the season?
I ran into, it was the guy that just committed he was in a portal, went to Minnesota State.
Yep.
We just played him. He's on the Mallards.
Yep,
We just
Davis
played him.
Hamilton,
I talked to him last night.
Okay, sounds good. Awesome. What was the reaction from Coach Oakes when you told him that you were coming to NDSU?
Oh, he was happy to hear it, and he said it was one made his day, you know.
Good deal.
He's happy to hear it.
Did you follow along at all when NDSU made it to the regional round this year?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay, but
I should have, but I missed it.
But to see you're going to a team that's had that success, obviously that played a big part into it, right? To decide to come to NDSU.
100%. I want to go to a program that loves winning and has a winning tradition, and that's all they want to do is go win, you know.
So really, this is a culmination. You've always wanted to go Division I. What's your family's reaction to this? Is it hard work finally paying off, and you're at that top level now?
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Like hard work always pays off, and they're just super proud of me and how like all these years been of me grinding through these stages and just going through life, and they're just super proud of me of where I'm at now.
Awesome. Hey man, I appreciate you coming on. What's your schedule this week? When's your next game?
We play today. We got a doubleheader today.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sir.
Who do you play?
We play, I think we play Battle Creek.
Battle Creek. That's a good team. Battle Creek's usually a good program over there. They run a good operation. So good luck. Thanks for coming on this morning. Best of luck on your trip over here to NDSU when it comes that time, and best of luck in the Northwoods, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Cal Jones joining the show here on this Wednesday morning. Super cool. Again, it's him, transfer shortstop from Henderson State. Had a really good year there, batted above 300, 20 extra base hits, has some home run power as well, 17 stolen bases last season. Big addition since NDSU lost Jake Schaffner to the transfer portal. Again, the Summit League all-conference first team defensive player of the year, went to UNC, so it's good to see Tyler Oakes backfilling some of those spots here. And as we mentioned yesterday, they also picked up a pitcher as well. Jack Surtee, originally from the Bay Area, went to Baylor, then went to Grayson College, and now will come to NDSU. I believe a relief pitcher, right-handed pitcher as well. So it's good to see. There's going to be plenty more. I don't think the Bison are going to be in a bad spot going into next year, without a doubt. Good to chat with Cal. The Northwoods League is crazy. We've been trying to get him on here for the last couple of days, but the schedule hasn't cooperated with us, so good to talk to him. All right, we're due for a break here once again. Reminder for you, we are previewing the Red River Amateur Championship coming up at the bottom of the hour with the University of Jamestown's head golf coach. They have a great representation in the field this year. So we'll talk about that coming up in just a couple of minutes. A lot more to get to on this Wednesday morning. Hot Mike continues when we come back on WDAY Extra at Inform.com. Back on this Wednesday morning, Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo, who is out on vacation up until Friday, and then we are back out at the Red River Amateur Championship at the Moorhead Country Club. Show will pack up. We'll be live on location from there coming up in just a couple of days. Do want to say a big thank you to Cal Jones for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. Great to chat with him, making his TV debut. I think he did a fantastic job. Life in the Northwoods League is not easy, and you heard it from him as well. Traveling all the time, playing really good competition. You have players from the JUCO level all the way up to the Power 5, SEC level players in that league. Really impressive. If I'm not mistaken, team in Bismarck, the Larks, Minot Hot Tots as well. If you're out in those areas and you can catch a game, do so. It's good baseball. Real good baseball. Speaking of good baseball, College World Series going on. Yesterday, we showed you the highlights of the Arkansas no-hitter from Gage Wood. This has really been a pretty wild College World Series so far. It's been fun to watch. The full day a couple of days ago was pretty action-packed. Arkansas with the no-hitter against Murray State, and then you had another game that was suspended due to weather, had to be resumed yesterday morning, and then UCLA LSU was in that game, and UCLA had to turn around and play another one later that day to keep their season alive in an elimination game. So it's been intriguing to watch, and that just rolled over last night as well. Elimination game between Oregon State and Louisville. We'll roll you the highlights of this one because if you missed it, it ended in some pretty dramatic fashion. Again, Oregon State, the 8th seed in the College World Series with the 8th ranking. We go to the bottom of the 4th here. Louisville already up 3-1. That's Zion Rose hitting a bomb to left field. His 13th homer of the year to make it a 4-2 lead for Louisville. Okay, so then we go to the bottom of the 6th. Louisville leads 4-3. Able to drive in another run, extend their lead 5-3. Go to the 9th. It's 6-3, but Oregon State, who is a baseball powerhouse at the college level, they were ready to do some damage. Aya Arquette hits a leadoff homer to left. 6-4 at that point. Bases juiced in the top of the 9th. Ground ball misplayed under the glove. One run will come in to score. Another run comes in to score. So then we are tied at 6, just off the tip of the mitt. Luckily for Louisville, they would get out of the jam, so we go to the bottom of the 9th. 2 runners on, 6-6 ball game. This one's kicked around. Bases loaded for the Cardinals now in the bottom of the 9th, and nobody out. Oregon State would go for a pitching change. Obviously not happy. Again, this is an elimination game. Oregon State trying to keep their season alive. Cue in Zach Edwards in one of the biggest spots of his baseball career. Bases loaded, lift to center field. It's not going to leave the yard, but it's going to be just enough to walk it off with the sac fly. Eddie King with the sac fly for the win. Louisville's hopes at a championship are alive. They win 7-6 and knock off the Beavers. Dramatic fashion. Great game there to wrap up the day, or in the middle of the day yesterday, I should say. Also yesterday, Arkansas beating UCLA to end the Bruins season. Again, UCLA falling to LSU earlier in the morning. Eric, were you watching this game at all? What'd you think about this?
The game was actually pretty good. I did have it on in the background as I was getting some stuff done. But a fun fact about Louisville is one of their players is going to get married
Yeah,
in the coming days. Tanner Shiver, I hope I said that last name right. is going to get married the day before the championship game. So if they make the championship, he has to fly from Omaha to Louisville and then back to Omaha right after the reception to play in the championship.
I saw that too. It's a pretty wild story. I'm pretty sure that was June 21st on that Saturday is when the finals start. And his wedding is butted up right next to that, so he's going to take the plane back and forth. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I'm kind of pulling for Louisville because of that story as of right now. Louisville will play again today. They have Coastal Carolina, the number 13th ranked team in college baseball right now. That game's at 1 o'clock later this afternoon. And then Arkansas and LSU will play at 6 o'clock today as well. So college baseball continues. A lot of good baseball going on. So tune into that. No doubt about that. College World Series has been a lot of fun. My pick last week, I think it was, before the whole thing started, my pick was Arkansas. They're still trucking. They're still moving along. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to stick with that pick of Arkansas. Again, NDSU was in that regional as well. Okay, mentioned it that Red River Amateur Championship is coming up in just a couple of days. Starts on Friday, goes on Saturday, and on Sunday as well. We will be there. WDAY Extra will have all the coverage for you over the weekend. We are live on Friday from starting at 12, and we'll go to 3, a hard cut on Friday. And then we are live for pretty much the whole shebang on Saturday and Sunday. We'll start at noon, and we'll go to the end on Saturday. We'll start at noon, and we'll go to the end on Sunday as well. Ian Simonich is going to join us on the show tomorrow to chat about that. He's had success at this tournament, of course, former Bison golfer. We had Chris Howell, Goose, on the show a couple of days ago to talk about this tournament. Coming up in just a couple of moments, we're going to have Jared Lentz join us, the head golf coach for both the men's and women's programs at the University of Jamestown. So we're going to chat with him in just a little bit. But a reminder for you, we'll have the coverage of that golf tournament on WDAY Extra. If I remember right, it's coming up on year number 5 now. This will be my first year there. I'm really excited for it. I'm a golfer at heart, even though the game of golf doesn't like me. So this is going to be a fun weekend. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get Jared on the show here. We'll chat about this tournament a little bit more coming up. Hot Mic will continue. WDAY Extra, Inform.com, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, and KNBN in Rapid City. A couple of minutes left to go here on this Wednesday morning. Again, chatting Red River Amateur Championship here. Reminder for you, we are live all 3 days of the tournament starting at noon. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Hot Mic, Dom Izzo will be back live from the Moorhead Country Club on Friday morning as well. So looking forward to that. And while you're watching the tournament coming up this weekend, expect to see a lot of Jamestown golfers in the mix, which is going to be really cool to see. And to help us preview this tournament and get to know some of those golfers, Jared Lentz, the head coach of UJ, both men's and women's golf programs, joins us on the show. Jared, thanks for taking some time. Are you excited for this week coming up? It's a big time around here.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I'm just pumped up to get out there and watch kids, whether it's future kids, current guys that'll be with us this year. And we got a couple alumni in the field too, recent graduates. So yeah, it'll be a full day for me on Friday, but I'm excited to get out there, and looks like hopefully the weather will cooperate for the most part. So
we're knocking on wood. We're hoping so. I was looking at the field. I think I counted, we got 6 guys with the University of Jamestown connections on the men's side of the field here. Describe the importance or the want from them to get into a tournament like this. Why do they want to play in this tournament?
Yeah, so I think, and even dating back to me personally, when I played it a few times, I mean, we're talking 8-10 years ago, but to get a true stroke play event in the summer is great. I think outside some of the state events, there's not a whole lot of stroke play stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know once we get into July here with Birchmont Resorters, Pine to Palm over there in Minnesota, everything kind of gets into match play a little bit. So I think it's a true stroke play is really, really kind of the pull for some of them to really test their game. And, Moorhead Country Club's a great venue. Front 9 is kind of there, and then the back 9 you just kind of got to hold on. So I think it's a true test, and the guys I've talked to are fired up to get over there. So
absolutely. give us a rundown of the guys that are on your team this year. Who should we be on the lookout for over the weekend?
So current guys that'll be going into this fall, so like Aiden Hall is a guy for us that we're expecting to make a big jump. He's kind of played our 3 spot the last couple of years. 2 guys in the field, Max Knopfsinger and Garrett Geis, both graduated for us this year. So losing our 1 and 2 really it's going to put us in kind of a not so much a rebuilding year, but we're going to have to retool some things, and guys are just going to have to step up, and that'll kind of start with Aiden there. So definitely expecting him to have a good weekend here.
Okay, we'll keep our eye on that. And you mentioned you played there. For those that haven't been to Moorhead Country Club or haven't watched this tournament, what are your thoughts on the course itself? You mentioned the front 9. Is this a course that's going to cause some problems this weekend in your mind?
I just think it's a fun setup. And like every golf course, if you can get off the tee, it can be pretty straightforward. But I know they get the greens and the pins going out there, and said with the heat that's coming too, I think by Sunday they'll be rolling them pretty good, and something that I think, especially with the weather we've had recently, I don't know if guys are kind of used to that right now. So it'll be a fun test to watch, like I said, throughout the weekend. So
you said you're going to be there on Friday. Are you going to be coaching up your players? Are you allowed to do that, or are you just going to sit back and watch?
No, I'll be bouncing around. Like I said, watching players. I got some buddies playing in it as well. A couple kids we're looking at in the future. So I'll be keeping my distance, but I'll definitely be around checking out hopefully a lot of good golf. So
you mentioned you've played in this tournament before a couple years back. How much have you seen this tournament grow, and what does this mean for golfers in our area? What have you seen over the last couple of years?
It just seems like the field just keeps getting better and better every year. There's always a lot of NDSU guys in there, which is great. I know that's part of the drive for a lot of our guys too, is getting over there, and especially the more you progress, you play better. You're going to play with better guys. Obviously, you got guys like Ben Welly over there that have just seemed to be doing it forever, and still just playing great golf, and just a good experience for our guys, but even just individuals to play with, good competition and kind of see how they go about their round and piece together good scores, even if maybe they're not hitting it the best.
That leads me into my next question here. I want to get your thoughts on this. What is the difference between a college tournament at your guys' level and an amateur tournament like this? Is there much of a difference or not so much?
For something like this, I definitely would think those cut lines are really, they're just in the back of your head, right? You don't, you go to a college event, you can really shoot whatever you want, and you're still going to play the next day. But especially into that, I think they cut both days, if I'm not mistaken. But if it starts getting off the tracks a little bit early, you really got to tone it in, or you're going to be looking at a short week. But it's good, and that's another part of the competition, because it's a tough field, and for some of them to go in thinking they're going to actually win the entire event, it's probably a little bit, I don't know, over,
I get what
to
you're
go
saying.
in there and just, set a goal maybe to shoot even par every day, or something like that. Again, because it's going to be a true test out there. Doesn't matter what the weather does. That staff will have that thing ready to go. So
this kind of dives into part of a mental game for these college golfers, like the ones from your program that are going to be here, that they may not experience throughout the season. Is that correct?
Exactly. And you can't always rely, this is a true individual event. You can't rely on a teammate picking you up if you don't have it that day, or so.
Okay. Give us the rundown of UJ Golf this year on both the men's and women's side. What do you take away after this season, and how did everything go?
So we had a pretty good year. We were kind of in a middle year. It was our one and only year in the North Star NAIA ranks. And as of July 1st here, we'll officially be joining Division II NSIC.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for us. We had a lot of success this year, but we were playing in some smaller fields. Pretty much stayed within our conference for the most part. We did dip into a little bit of NSIC stuff. But this fall we're full NSIC schedule. We're excited. we'll be on the road. We got full fields, tough golf courses. And I think everyone knows both on the men's and women's side that, if we don't come ready to go, we're going to
it's going to be a tough day.
We're going to be looking up at a lot of teams on the leaderboard, and I know our kids don't like doing that. So, I have faith that they're putting in the work and getting their games ready to go for this fall, because it's 4th of July is coming up here, and we'll be back in school before we know it. So definitely some exciting times going on over there. And the athletic department as a whole is just really pumped up for this transition, and we're just kind of ready. We've done all the back office work the last couple of years for it, and now we're just kind of ready to really just lay it out there and get going.
I'm looking forward to that. I wanted to ask you as a head coach, is this a challenging process to make, going from the level you're at to Division II?
Yeah, I would say the big thing for us is on our off days, we're going to be in a bad spot scoreboard-wise. We've kind of gotten away with it in the past, not just last year, but in previous years. But if we don't bring our A game, or if we're just not mentally ready to go, we are gonna, like I said, we're gonna be looking at some bad scores. And there's a lot of good golfers at the Division II level that people maybe don't think about, and they're preparing and they're playing in these exact same tournaments, and they'll be ready to go as well. I can almost guarantee that. So we're excited though.
Awesome. Jared Lentz joining us, the University of Jamestown head golf coach here on this Wednesday morning. Looking at your roster, it's a great representation of North Dakota players. Is that a model you're going to stick to in this transition to Division II? Keep looking closer to home to find this talent, or do you need to expand your talent search moving up to a higher level?
So I'd say a little bit of both. The big thing for me is climate-based. The transition to college is so tough anyways that it's just hard to bring a kid from Arizona or California and just get them to buy into everything. We just built a brand new indoor practice facility that I would put up there as probably one of the best in the region. Yeah. But that's still not playing golf outside 10, 12 months out of the year.
Right.
But definitely have a lot of ties with some of the guys, Chris Geis over at Dakota Junior Golf, and just know some people in the area too. So definitely try to make those local connections, and just the whole thing is just keeping the best players in the state. That's kind of what we're looking for going forward too in our recruiting. But like you said, at the end of the day, we're going to have to step it up, and if we'll kind of find guys and gals that'll fit kind of wherever we need to get them from. So,
what's the state of amateur youth golf in the state of North Dakota? I look at some of these scores. The state tournaments just wrapped up, and they're really impressive. In your mind, what's the state of golf in North Dakota underneath the college level right now?
So as someone who played high school golf in North Dakota, it's just day and night, the difference, the opportunities that kids have. I mean, we're talking 3 or 4 junior events a week from the beginning of June till I'm sure August, and just different formats, different courses, different regions. I know kids are over there playing some of the Minnesota events too. Like, there's just so many opportunities for kids to just compete, and really that's what it comes down to. I mean, you and I can go play golf every day, and we're not going to improve too much,
right?
Until you're actually kind of under those bright lights, and even just a little bit of competition really can set you up. So definitely think they're doing a great job, and they're getting to all these courses. I mean, having the Russ Newman at FCC is a big thing. Just getting kids the experience and getting them to play all these different courses in North Dakota is awesome, and something that I'm a little jealous of when I was coming up.
I don't doubt that one bit. I wanted to ask you about the women's side of the game. We're looking at the field here for the Red River Amateur Championship. The field continues to grow. We saw the play last year in this championship has been fantastic. Of course, high school golf in North Dakota and in Minnesota on the women's side is really good as well. How much have you seen that division grow over the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable too. Like I said, out at the Russ Newman, which if you heard anything about that, the weather was not great. There was a lot of impressive golf being played top to bottom on the women's side. And, it just seems like it's just becoming more of a thing. Again, those same groups are running women's tournaments, whether it's 2-person things, just to get them involved. They had the Missouri last week, and there was some women out there playing. Fortunately, we couldn't get any of ours in the field this week. We're hoping going forward we can push that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to see that tee sheet a little bit more full this year, and just continue to grow, is a great thing for the game. And like I said, hopefully just continue to get these young ladies to play golf and enjoy it, because I don't know, it's a great sport, and you can kind of do whatever you want with it because it's individual. Right. You're not based on, a teammate or whatever. So
absolutely. One more for you, Jared, before we let you go. I got to ask you, you're a Valley City guy. How did you end up at Jamestown? I didn't even know that was allowed. How did that all turn out for you?
Yeah, I would probably have to tip my cap to Dustin Jensen. We've just always kind of had a relationship, but I don't know. I played a lot of tournaments over in Jamestown, and I try to get over there a few times. So I guess probably helped that I didn't play football. I think that's where more of the big rivalry stems from. Golf, we try to keep it pretty cool. I buddies with a lot of the guys I played with back when I was in college, so it wasn't as big of a transition as maybe some people think it is on paper, but really enjoying my time. I really enjoyed my time at VCSU, and I really enjoy my time at Jamestown now. So
awesome. That's good to hear. Well, tell your guys good luck this weekend from us. Look forward to seeing you on Friday, and thanks for coming on today.
Appreciate it, Sam. Take care.
You too. We'll see you later this week. Jared Lentz, the head golf coach at the University of Jamestown, joining us on this Wednesday morning. Again, Red River Amateur Championship coming up later this week. We're live. Hot Mic is live on Friday morning at the Moorhead Country Club. And then we're live with the tournament on WDAY Extra, streaming on inform.com, WDAY Plus app as well. It's a pretty slick tournament that they're putting together, and we are on the air starting noon each day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be a fun one, no doubt about that. And again, there's 6 golfers with connections to the University of Jamestown in the field on the men's side of this. On the men's side, there's a lot of returning names as well. He mentioned Ben Welly. He'll be back here again. That'll be fun to see. The Scarparoods are in the mix as well. Ian Simonich, we're going to have him on the show tomorrow. Looking forward to that. He's going to come in studio tomorrow, chat about his process of getting ready for this tournament. He's come so close to winning it, but just hasn't gotten over the mark. So we'll chat about that again tomorrow. A lot of big names. Nate Pearl in there as well. Now at the University of North Dakota, great Cheyenne golfer. Had a phenomenal tournament last year. He's back in it this year. And then on the women's side, great names as well. Avery Bartell is one of them that I can see here. It goes on. It's going to be a really, really, really fun tournament coming up this weekend. Looking forward to bringing that to you on WDAY Extra. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll put a bow on things here on this Wednesday morning. Get you out the door, get you ready for a busy Wednesday night. Not so busy Wednesday night, but we'll let you know what's going on in the world of sports. That's coming up when we come back on Hot Mic. All right, a couple of minutes left to go here on this Wednesday morning before we head out the door. Get ready to enjoy another great day. We're hoping the weather continues to look strong throughout the weekend. I haven't looked at the weather lately. Hopefully it's good for the golf tournament coming up. Knock on wood on that as well. Don't want another rainy one. We want to see prime conditions for prime golf. No doubt about that. While we got a couple moments, I mentioned it at the top of the show. Twins back in action tonight against the Cincinnati Reds. They fell last night 6-5. Had an opportunity to tie, potentially take the lead in the top of the 9th inning, but couldn't get it done. This is the pitching matchup for tonight. Bailey Ober back on the bump. We touched on it last week with Corey Provis on Friday. We know what Bailey Ober's been going through. It seems like he's dealing with a hip issue. Hopefully that kind of gets figured out. It just hasn't been there for Bailey Ober. That's clear to see. He's acknowledged it. Lost some zip on the fastball, even though in his last start against the Rangers last week, He got it back. He was up in the 90s, so I'll be curious to see what today brings. 4.3 record, 4-3 record, a 4.40 ERA. He'll be going up against Nick Lodolo. Who? I've never heard of him. Well, he'll start for the Reds today. 4-5 this season, a 3.76 ERA. He does have 70 strikeouts this year. Again, the Twins had a fairly decent game against a pretty solid pitcher in Abbott for the Cincinnati Reds last game. So it's Ober for Game 2, and then it's Chris Paddock tomorrow for Game 3 of the series. Tomorrow's game is at 11:40 in the morning, and then this one today is at 6:10. So we'll see how that shapes out for the Twins. Again, they've lost their last 5 games. Nick Martinez will get the start in Game 3 for the for the Cincinnati Reds. We'll chat about that more tomorrow on the show as well. Loaded show tomorrow. This is a look at the American League Central standings. We got a shakeup here. The Guardians now in that second spot. They're a half game up on the Twins, who have reached that 500 mark for the first time since mid-May, I think it is. 36-36. The month of June has just been a butt kicker, no doubt about that. They got the Reds, and then the next series they stick more NL action. The Milwaukee Brewers come to Target Field. Eric's very excited about that one. He'll be making the trip down to the Twin Cities to catch that series Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they stick at home with a 4-game series against the Seattle Mariners after that. Yeah, there's the tweet from the Twins. They've already given up on this series. They're looking ahead. We're looking to the Brewers already, it looks like. So that's what the Twins got going on. Again, Bailey Ober getting the start tonight. We'll see if they get it done. It looks like Byron Buxton is good to go. Had a home run yesterday. Still Royce Lewis on the IL. No Pablo Lopez. No news on Zebby Matthews as of late. So it's what can you do? What can you do? Hopefully they can string together a couple of wins and salvage this month and climb back in the AL Central. The one thing to note here, again, with the MLB, I tend to jump on the train of, it's another year. They're not going to do anything. It's still very early. We're not even at the All-Star break yet. A lot can change. So don't freak out just yet. I'm trying not to, but don't freak out just yet. Okay, with that being said, let's get into our what to watch and wrap things up on this Wednesday morning. All right, as I mentioned, the Twins and the Reds tonight, 6:10 first pitch on Twins TV from the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. See if the Twins can get their first win in 5 games. More baseball tonight. It's really a baseball-filled type of day. Not much else really going on. Louisville versus Coastal Carolina. That game, first pitch, is scheduled for 1 o'clock. You can catch it on ESPN. Another game later on tonight as well that we mentioned earlier. And to mix things up a little bit, you got some Gold Cup soccer. Now that you've listened to Drew give a rundown of what Gold Cup soccer is, you can catch some action here. USA plays tomorrow against Saudi Arabia, but tonight it's Suriname and Mexico. 7 o'clock start time for that on Fox Sports 1. Okay, I'm going to have to tune in. Now that I know what's happening, going to have to tune in. Mexico apparently should be in the finals. Apparently should be against the United States. So we'll have to see. That's a look at what's to watch for today. Big thank you to our guests, Drew Trafton talking soccer, Cal Jones talking his commitment to North Dakota State baseball, and Jared Lentz previewing the Red River Amateur Championship with the UJ golfers in the field this year on the men's side. Looking forward to that coming up this weekend. We got a packed show for tomorrow. We're going to hear from Bison tight end commit Caden Ward tomorrow. He'll join us on the program. Ian Simonich, as I mentioned, will be in studio as he gets ready for the Red River Amateur Championship this weekend. So looking forward to that conversation. Also going to chat with Tyler Klein coming up tomorrow as well. Fargo North and Fargo South are now going to co-op in boys hockey, and Head Coach Klein is going to take over that program, so we'll get the rundown on that. Excited for that conversation. And, of course, St. Cloud Power Hour returns tomorrow. Myself and Alec Osmus, a lot to chat about. We're going to chat some Lynx, some Twins, you name it. Alec Osmus will join us on the show tomorrow. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. If you missed any part of the show and wanted to go back, you can podcast it, inform.com, WDAY+. Thanks for joining us. Have a great Wednesday.